let's get the intro going. So, those of you that have never seen anything having to do with Chrono Trigger may wonder what Chrono Trigger is and why someone would dredge up a holiday challenge for it. Chrono Trigger, game made back in the mid-90s, 1995 to be exact, for the Super Nintendo. Let me hit that so I can... For the Super Nintendo is probably one of the most fondly remembered role-playing games ever created for consoles. Yeah, this game invented what we know now as New Game Plus. Essentially where you beat the, the bit where you beat the game, and then after you beat it, you can go back with the party you had... Oh, come on, stop that. You can go back and beat it, or play it again with the party that you beat the game with pretty much all their levels, items, equipment, and everything else. You may wonder why you would do that, because they don't up the difficulty of the monsters or anything like that, so everything's exactly as hard as it was before. This game has somewhere in the neighborhood of 13 different endings. And you get the endings based on when you beat the game. Yes, I said when. For example, there's one point where a dude tells you not to go do a thing because it takes you right to the end boss. And the first time you see it, you are very, very unprepared for it. You are nowhere near strong enough. But if you play it a second time with the same characters, they will be strong enough to beat the end boss right then and there. As a matter of fact, a New Game Plus even opens up a couple of options you didn't get originally, surprise, surprise, Like being able to go right at the very beginning of the game and go face the end boss before any plot happens. So yeah, this game kind of invented this whole thing. I'm gonna do wait just because I'm a slacker like that. Yeah, there are a couple of types of game mode. DS mode, where it keeps the top screen, the main screen you're going to be seeing up there in the window, pretty free of all the numbers and clutter and all that, where Classic puts it like right there. Battle mode, active and wait, while you're in menus. It has kind of the active time battle system. If you've ever played Final Fantasy VI or a number of other Square RPGs, they have this little thing where everybody's on a timer that when the timer counts down, their next turn happens. Well, in active mode, timers never stop moving, so that allows everyone's, time gauges to fill really, really quickly, etc. But in wait, whenever you get a menu or something open, all the timers stop. And I am not the greatest in the world at playing this game, so we're putting it on wait just so I won't sit there and fumble around in a menu while enemies get to wail on me. So anyway, before we begin, does anybody have any questions about the holiday challenge and what it actually entails? I'm going to give you the brief rundown. Basically, if you've ever heard of the Final Fantasy V Four Job Fiesta, this is kind of the same deal. There is a bot set up on Twitter that you tweet to with a certain hashtag, and that bot responds to you with a Chrono Trigger party. That Chrono Trigger party is the one you have to have in your party as often as possible, and it's the one you have to beat the game with. Now, this being a Square RPG from the 90s, you're not going to have all those members available at all times. And you're not even going to have all those members available pretty much not until at least halfway through the game, if not further. I forget what point we get to actually get Magus on our team. But anyway, does anyone have any questions about either the Chrono Trigger holiday? Can you level up a character? Yes. The thing is, with this version of the game, if I'm not mistaken, all characters level up whether you're using them or not. It shares the XP with the non-party characters. So you won't have to worry about that. At least I recall this version does it. It's one of the main reasons I'm using this version. Because there are definitely times you will be forced to use use the characters you haven't touched. But, this game actually does compensate for that. Are there any other questions about either the challenge or the game in general? Things about what you can if you're worried about having to expect a certain thing? You like the fencing frog. The fencing frog that uses a broadsword and talks. Yeah, Frog's song is kind of iconic. And also the DS version, which obviously is the one I'm playing here, actually has little anime movies. They have little anime cutscenes at very key points throughout the game. The Super Nintendo version obviously did not have these. The PlayStation version did, and I think I don't think the Game Boy Advance could handle them. But the DS does it just fine. They are a little compressed, being, videos on a cartridge. But, Yeah, a little bit of Frog's song, our version of it, was released in the preview, and he is being voiced by a person named Darby Cupid. If you are familiar with Undertale the musical, this is also the same person that voiced Papyrus. And if you're not familiar with it, Darby is pretty much is a professional voice actor and singer. He actually has been paid to do this by other venues rather than these two musicals. So we're not dealing with slouches here. But Darby is actually a very fantastic voice actor and singer. And yeah, there really wasn't going to be too much debate over who was getting Frog's part once he decided he wanted it and auditioned for it. Oh well. I'm guessing questions are done for now. So I have until, I believe, March 21st, the official start of spring, to complete this game and send in a photo of it to complete the challenge. So anyway, the game itself is really only about 16 hours long, 15 or 16 hours. And really, you never have to grind. Really, you don't. It's weird. I mean, in a sense, you kind of do, because you kind of need to go beat up everything in an area, but you won't have to keep returning to that area over and over and over again to keep beating them up, unless you just really want certain items. Level-wise, you should actually be fine if you just don't run from fights during the game. Anyway. Meet our protagonist. In the game, he is silent. In the musical, not so much. But his official name is Krono, and I am not going to be changing the names, because I want to, I've got to keep the names, at least the main 3 characters I'm going to be using. I need to keep their names the same. Okay, my official party, it's going to be kind of hard to see, but if you look over on the right-hand side, underneath the Chrono Trigger Holiday Challenge banner, I've actually got it listed there. My party will be Krono, Marle, and Magus. Sadly, I did not get Isla or Frog, even though Frog's kind of boring to play. But Krono and Marle in a team together is just kind of boring for me, because that's kind of the canon. That's kind of 2/3 of the canon trio that can destroy people. It's also going to make this game a fair bit easier, so it's a mixed blessing, because Marle is by far and large the best healer in the game, and Krono is the best attacker. Magus can just stand there twiddling his thumbs. Especially during the last fight, he's going to be kind of useless. He can pitch out potions, I guess, and ethers, as needed. That is a festival. That's not attacking a town. Which button was... There we go. And you can move this text box in and out of the way as you need to. I will try to remember to do that when things happen in the right spots. But somebody's yelling at Krono. And if you saw the man on the internet video, this will basically be where the whole Peaceful Days setup comes from, the very freaking beginning of the game. Yeah, we could do close to 100% run still, but yeah. It'd be very, very useless for this type of challenge. I will still try to do all the side quests regardless, just because the side quests are interesting. But anyway. And Krono has a cat. This will become somewhat relevant later. And Mom coming in and ruin a good night's sleep by opening the windows, like moms tend to do. Okay, good. Where's my... I will need... This is one of the few instances, not this exact moment, but of a game where the walk button is actually kind of useful at a few points. Normally when you get an RPG like this, you won't leave... You kind of set it to run and leave it there. Now, there's a couple of points where walking is actually beneficial. Believe it or not. No. But Kronos, sword wielder and mute protagonist, just woken up by his mom. And Mom says it's about time. By the way, you're going to see... What was her name? That young adventurous friend of yours. Meet Luca. Madam not appearing in most of this game because of the random roll. Although we will be using her a lot because, well, she's going to be kind of the opening party member that we are stuck with for a good long while. And we have an invention at the fair she needs us to go look at. So there's a cat. It follows us around once we interact with it. We can get cat food for it. It takes time and a lot of freaking energy to do, but we can get cat food for it. So welcome to the Overworld. We are in the time of 1000 AD. Here's Kronos' house. Here is a random residence. We can enter said random residence and find out that people are amazed that our kingdom hasn't collapsed inside of 1,000 years. And apparently his own daughter is a bit of a wild one. It's very hard not to just sing constantly here, I will have you know. This background music is indeed the theme used for the Man on the Internet's Peaceful Days. Luca's made a discovery. Something tells me I'm happy now as I'll ever be. You never know, things could change. And yes, you can talk to someone and walk away from them. And if you don't get a certain distance away, their text box will stay on screen. It's kind of rude, but you can do it. I don't think anybody ever comments on it, but you can do it. And in the market, nothing here. Because the guy has moved his stall to the fair. Which a smart vendor does. So we can hear about the mayor's house. Which is kind of the adventuring know-how center. Basically, this is the tutorial for the game. And he gives you a few things. And on the DS version, you can indeed use the stylus to move around, as I will demonstrate. Hold the stylus to touchscreen, you walk from the stylus's direction. So down here, I'm just kind of clicking with my mouse, and that you can kind of move him around like that. As you can see, it's a little difficult to control. But it does work. Hey, 50 blessings. So, weapons come in their own style. Each weapon will belong to a different character in the game. Yep. Everybody has a different proficiency. Chrono here is basically longswords. Luca, as you will see, is guns. Marle will be bows. And Magus, the edgelord that he is, uses scythes. Go figure. And armor is kind of available for everyone to wear, but there are a few pieces that are specific to certain characters. And this is kind of important. If you use swords or other melee weapons, yeah, your strength, as your strength goes up, you'll do more damage. Missile weapons like guns and bows and such benefit from accuracy, which makes a lot of sense. Anyway, chest. Or we get a potion. Sure, let's get the whole things. And if I really need to, I can use this. The area down here. Once it gives me them back, I can just go here and actually click that. And go to that. Over here, I can jump to the weapons and armor. I can do that, although everything is available through the menu. Pretty much right here, you can get to wherever you need to go. Scattered throughout the world are points where time's memory is deeply rooted. I'm trying to describe save points without breaking the fourth wall. Yeah, that is just a replica. It's not a real one. Yep. Shelters are useful. But if we don't know about them, they will mention it. Shelters are kind of like portable tents or houses in Final Fantasy. Basically, you use them and you refill everything. And status elements. If you get that, you're poisoned. You should know what poison does by now. Slow means you'll have that little white, grayish outline around your character, and your active time bar takes longer to fill. Sleep, well, you're taking a nap. If you get smacked, you'll wake up again, but until then. Confuse means you just kind of the AI just kind of plays roulette with whatever your character does, and whoever your character does it to. Blind means you can't see, of course, and it pretty much tanks your accuracy. Lock means you're pretty much limited to just melee. It's kind of like mute. Stop means you're not moving again until you clear it up. Yeah, Panaceas are basically the cure-all items for that. Of course, HP at 0, you're KO'd. They have Athenian Water, which is Phoenix Downs, which is life, basically restores you. L button and R button are used for escape. And you have magic defense and physical defense in this game. And techs, or what you would call spells in other games, are pretty much learned just by leveling up for the most part. You gain levels, you learn new abilities, we get 100 gold from opening a chest. And here's a little bit of a tutorial on techs. Techs have, movement ranges and effect ranges, as they're showing you here. And he has an ability that's called a whirl or something like that, sword spin or what have you. I can't remember the name of it, but basically he jumps to a spot and spins around. If you target the right enemy, you'll hit everybody. If not, you'll hit less people. Or techs can make you move in a straight line. Straight lines can be done via just a straight charge in whatever direction, or it can be done basically to another enemy. It's up to you to figure out what techs work better at which points. And of course, Krono there. Wait a minute. I didn't read that. I just wanted the screen a little less cluttered. That's why I picked it. And here's the inn, which is going to be basically useless to us. This particular inn. Because at any time we can go back into Kronos' house and sleep for free. Nah, I don't need to change the music right now. That's what he does. He allows you to change the music in here if you buy him a drink. No. Earthquakes are happening. And if you see this little black box with the funky little yellow pattern in it, it is sealed shut by a mysterious force. We won't be able to open those for a good long while. And even when we can't open them, we will want to hold off on doing so for a little while longer. I will explain more about that when the time comes. Fritz needs to return, huh? Okay. And we could take a ferry to Pore, but we don't need to. We could go in the Guardia Forest, but there's no real reason to at all right now. Unless we wanted to get into fights, and we don't want to get into fights at this exact moment. But we can go pay a visit to Luca's house, even though Luca is not home. There's kind of machinery, like, literally all over the place here. And it's a modest little home, kitchen, couple of bedrooms. There's not a whole lot of interest in here, except for Luca's mom. Yeah, she's off at the square with her father. And what they're not showing you here is that Luca's mom is paralyzed from the waist down. Yeah, that becomes important later. But Luca's mom is basically paralyzed from the waist down. And it's kind of important to get familiar with the layout of her house now. Well, not right now, but, you know, before it becomes important later to know where you have to go in this house. But we can't just ignore the fair entirely for the moment. I mean, it's not going to do anything but move at the speed of plot. And we can come up here to the bridge and meet the travelers. The same few travelers will pass by us multiple times. They don't really have too much interesting to say, but they are there. They're all coming from down here. And if you're wondering where all the random battles are, they're not here. There are no random battles in this game. Every enemy you fight will pop up on the map at some point. And this is Pore, where if we really needed to, we could have paid 10 gold to take a ferry down here. And this little area has potions, panaceas, Athenian waters, and shelters. For sale, although we have, like, no money. We have the 500 gold, that's about it. So there's not much incentive to actually spend any yet. But let's talk to the mayor. And the mayor is incredibly rich. So rich he will pay us 10 gold if we spin around 3 times and cluck like a chicken. Now, as a side note, you can do this multiple times and actually get unlimited gold out of this guy. It just takes forever and you actually have to leave the house and come back to do it. But this dude's so rich, he doesn't know what to do with it. He doesn't know what to do with his money, and he's really, really greedy. And his family is not too pleased with him, so there's that. And he has a couple of these chests in his house. Sorry, it's true. Your dad is a greedy, greedy person. And here's a little place called the Snail Stop. And we hear a story about some woman named Fiona dying trying to revive a great forest. I don't think they have a president here, considering they have a king. Let's play something upbeat. So we get the battle theme. Interesting. And this dude here has some incredibly expensive spiced jerky, which he's selling for almost 10,000 gold. A little out of our price range at the moment, but we will be back. We will be back indeed. I'm pretty sure we will have to be back. But that is, for better or worse, pretty much all you can really see before you go to the fair. Just kind of taking a look around and exploring the world a bit. What little of it exists at this point. So now that we've done that, let's stop dawdling, because we get a lot more dawdling to do in the fair itself, because the fair is huge. Kind of. Okay, it's big for what we've already seen. And there are a few things we need to do here. I think we could play this game. And not fail. There we go. Ringing that bell gets you a silver point. Silver points are useless outside of the fair, but they are a thing we will need to gather. We will need at least, I believe, 160 of them in the end. But there is an easier way, since I actually have a turbo controller hooked up, that I can get a lot of silver points. And here's another shop. It has the same stuff as the other shop at the same prices. Which we're not really interested in that. We are at Lean Square. And he happens to have a decent helmet. Yeah, and the invention not blowing up would be a benefit. That would be a good thing. So we have a merchant that likes pendants. See what he has for sale. He has a silver sword, which is 4,000 gold. Very expensive, and we're not going to bother with it. Why? Because, well, you get like several of them shortly after this. So the 4,000 gold you spend here could be put to much better use. So one of the other festivities you've seen ringing the bell, the manliness test, I guess. But one of the other festivities is this race. You can kind of bet to see who you think is going to win the race between these four. They basically do one lap around the place, and of course you're betting on which one's going to be across first. Some of them seem to take races off, and I've never learned so we can guess. I'm gonna guess G.I. Jogger, just because he came in dead last time. But it costs you nothing to guess. It looks like G.I. Jogger is going to be completely outclassed by the cat. Yep, the cat wins. It costs us nothing but, you know, time, really. So anyway. there's one more important area to go visit. But it's where we're going to spend pretty much most of the silver points. In fact, spend all of the silver points. Where we get a guy with a clown nose on the bodiless head and hands there. And which game you get to play, because it says spine-tingling show, but you get to play a little mini-game here. You have a 10-point game, a 40-point game, and an 80-point game. We don't have enough for any of these. But we just came to look around and poke the creepy laughing dude. But once we get some silver points banked up, we will be back, because there is at least one game we have to play for this run. So, you may notice that the young girl walking back and forth there is kind of similar to someone we've seen a few times. Let's not interact with her yet. And you can exchange silver points for gold. So if you really, really wanted that 4,000 gold sword, basically you could exchange a whole lot of silver points to get it. I'll let you all work out the exchange rate yourself, but trust me, it's a long, long way to try to get that sword, and not really worth it. And here's an old man who has a lunch sitting on the table, which we do not want to interact with it. We don't even want to press A near it, because the game interprets you as pressing A as stealing the old man's lunch. And if you recall, our mom told us to behave ourselves when we got out of bed. We kinda need to do that. But another thing we need to do, get this cat to follow us. Because there is a glitch this game has. Let's go this way so we don't smack into you. Yeah. Basically, this girl here will tell you she lost her cat. And normally you would talk to her, learn the lost cat, see the cat over there, and bring it back to her, but I believe there's a scene later on that this will make, what I'm about to say will make a lot more sense, but there's a trial scene where Kronos' character is brought into question, and they bring up all these witnesses. And up until a few years ago, there was always this one juror, after you heard all the witnesses and all the testimony had happened, no matter how innocent you were of everything, there was always one juror that was going to vote Krono guilty. And you'll understand more about that when the time happens. Supposedly, not talking to this girl before you deliver her cat removes a flag that forces one juror to mark you as guilty. So, if I'm correct, we just did it so all the jurors will find us innocent. I think so. I am not 100% convinced of this. And the cat just goes over there. It's a good kitty. And here we have a drinking contest, where it's basically mash the A button as fast as you can. However, I have a turbo controller. Kiddies make all games good. So I can get 5 silver points with this very, very easily. If you're not doing it with the turbo controller, this will break your fingers trying to gain silver points this way. Have I played the game to the moon? No, I have not. And in a sense, we have a taste of things to come here, where people are singing and dancing to a primal beat. The mayor gave him spending money, huh? Neat. So yeah, we can use the X, Y, L, and R buttons to dance along. So while we're standing here, we can do that, we can do that, we can laugh, or we can be really surprised at something. And just to let you know, we do have a song in the musical based on this number. But not because it's over here, because it features somewhere else. The king's tearing his hair out over his tomboy of a daughter. And we can't quite get into the top area there because preparations are still underway. But at some point... Yep, got to avoid that for now. I need to gain a few silver points. And this is really the optimal spot to do it. If I don't mess up horribly, I should only need 80, which means I have to do this about 16 times. See, I was tempted to play To the Moon on stream, but from what I understand, the developer of the game really doesn't want people making videos or doing streams of it. So, you know, not that the developer was... I'm not saying the developer's a jerk for doing so, anything like that. No, I am not. But, you know, it's personal choice. Some developers don't want their games up on stream or make videos of like that because they are so important. The story, if it is spoiled, ruins any reason to play the game for some people. So, you know, I decided against it and have just never gotten around to playing it in my free time. Because my free time is pretty limited lately. What with learning new things at job and rearranging my sleep schedule, and even before that I was, you know, working way too many hours at a job, etc., etc., etc. I know this is just enthralling to watch Kronos sit here and chug soda pop. And he is indeed chugging soda pop. He's gonna have one massive belch later, but he's chugging soda pop. Yeah, I would imagine PewDiePie did. It does not surprise me that PewDiePie has played this game. You know, well, not this game, but To the Moon. But even with PewDiePie playing it and general knowledge out there, I'm still going to respect the wishes of the developer and not make videos on this. Unless I do like a little summary, you know, hey, here's what I thought about the game. Unless I do something like that, yeah, I'm going to respect the wishes of the developer. Much like when Danganronpa V3 initially came out, they said, hey, please don't make any videos beyond the first chapter. It's like, well, I was going to adhere to that, then they changed their mind. So yeah, if I hear a developer does not want a video made of their game, I will respect their wishes, no matter how much I think I would enjoy playing this game in front of other people. I see no reason to disrespect the developers and not, you know, do something simple as not play their game on stream if they do not wish. It's a very rare occurrence, but it does happen every now and then. I will admit, though, if I am really wanting to play a game on stream and the developer says no, I may throw a bit of a fit over it. I may get angry about it, but I will still respect their wishes. Very enthralling gameplay, I know. Yeah, well, I mean, that's life. If someone says, hey, please don't make video of my game because it would ruin the experience for anyone. And, yeah, like Persona 5, what Atlas did with Persona 5. I believe they eventually pulled that back too once the game had been out a while and the initial sales numbers were out. I can very much understand why some developers would do that. For a game like Danganronpa, for a game like Persona, for a game like even Ace Attorney, a game that's so reliant on having its story remain somewhat of a mystery. I can understand why some developers would say, hey, can you at least, can you not post video of the game, past a certain point? It's like, it kind of hurts sales. They can actually legitimately make the argument that it kind of hurts sales for a story-heavy game to have its entire story put out there. And if that is a concern, then I can see whether we go, hey, for at least a little while, can we hold off on the Let's Plays and the streaming and all this? I mean, but ultimately, Let's Plays and streaming video game content, it's still, no matter what certain prolific YouTubers have to say about it, it's still a very, very gray area, at best, in terms of fair use. You can argue all you want that you playing a game, but speaking about it while you play it, you can argue that that might be transformative enough to get by a fair use fairy. Get by the fair use lawyers and all that. Okay, my card's full. So I can't do any more of that, and we won't be doing any more of that for a while.